Are you newly diagnosed with ulcerative colitis or another form of inflammatory bowel disease? Well, you're going to want to watch this video because I'm going to give you the general gist of what's going on and what we can do about it. My name's Jacob and I've been living with ulcerative colitis for over 10 years. And I want to lay things out realistically and give you a real approach on how to live with your diagnosis. So I'm going to lay this video out into 3 parts. Number 1 is going to be, what is it? What is going on? What is it? What are we even dealing with here? Number 2 is going to be, what can you expect? What can you expect? What kind of things happens with ulcerative colitis or inflammatory bowel disease? And number 3 is going to be, what can we do about it? What can we do about it? What can we do about it? There's loads of things we can do about it. So, number 1, what is it? I mean, in the simplest form, it is inflammation. And for ulcerative colitis, it tends to be inflammation of the bowel. This is the big bowel, the large intestine. Let's draw it out. You've got your bowel, kind of looks like this. Not everyone's looks like this. And let's get the red pen out. You get inflammation and it tends to be here. This is sort of your bum hole. And then you got your inflammation going up here and it can go further, but ulcerative colitis tends to be here. And this is just red to show inflammation. And you may get ulcers. So I'm just going to draw a lump there. That's an ulcer. Imagine that you might have had an ulcer inside your mouth before, kind of like that. And it gets sore. And then it bleeds a little bit. So you would expect to see some blood, and that's when you go to the bathroom. Now, for other forms of inflammatory bowel disease, it's basically inflammation. It may not come in the form of blood, like we've just shown there. It might be other ways. It might be inflammation of the stomach, anywhere the digestive tract. That's Crohn's disease, inflammation of the whole digestive tract, and that's why you might have heard of people with Crohn's disease, they might throw up because they've got inflammation in their stomach. For ulcerative colitis, and that's what I'm going to be focusing on today, inflammation of the bowel, ulcers, bleeding. That's pretty much what it is. That's the general gist of it. They're not really sure what causes it. There's all these theories. Not going to go into that. I'm just telling you what it is, inflammation. So in essence, it's inflammation. And if you ever hear a word with itis on the end, colitis, or whatever else it is, that means inflammation. It's been good to know that, just because then you know if someone says they've got something itis, you know it just means they have inflammation. So it's nice to understand that. So let's just write our little definition. Simple definition, inflammation. What is it? It's inflammation. So that kind of leads us onto what can you expect? Well, the first thing that you can expect is if you just had a diagnosis, you've probably been in touch with a medical professional, you've probably spoken to your GP, and they've probably given you medications. So you might already be familiar with these. I've got a couple of typical medications that I've been on. This is Pentasa. It's like taking ibuprofen, but it releases inside of your gut. So the one that I've got here, these were 2-gram sachets. This brings back memories. I was on these for many years. Tear them open, I'd have 4 grams back of the throat, down it, and that's quite very common. It's called mesalazine. Pentasa is just the brand. It's the brand that I was given, but the actual medication's called mesalazine. And like I said, it's like ibuprofen. It's a non-steroidal anti-inflammatory, and it gets released inside of your bowel. Very common. You've probably been given this, but maybe not. There's also, now, some of you might not like this, but you can get rectal foam. So this is an enema. And this is unopened. I won't open it yet. So it's basically mesalazine, but straight to the infected area, straight to the area of inflammation. So, and the reason why this is great is because you don't have to digest it. It doesn't go through your liver. It doesn't get processed through the rest of your body. Just go straight to where the inflammation is. And if you can hold this sort of thing in your butt It's going to help quite a lot. You can get other forms, like other medications that you can put up your butt. That's the one I've got to hand. I also have another one. I don't have it to hand, but it was a steroid. And steroids are very common. Some of you may have been given this. Some of you may have not yet if you've just been diagnosed and it's not so severe. You might have just been given mesalazine or another medication. But steroids are very common and you may get to know them as time goes on. Let's just say that. Steroids, they're not the kind of steroids that give you muscle. They're not steroids that grow your muscle. They're steroids that do the opposite. When you get stressed, you release something called cortisol. I promise this is related. When you take the steroid they're giving you, it releases a fake version of cortisol. And it almost just is stress in a pill. Gives you stress. Why are they giving you stress in a pill? Well, it dampens your immune system. When you're stressed out, when cortisol's high, the immune system is suppressed. And that theory is you take some cortisol, fake cortisol, and you get stressed and your immune system chills. And your inflammation should go down. Doesn't always happen like that. There's a lot of side effects with steroids. I will say I hated being on them. And if you are unfortunate enough to be needing them, I'm sorry. I know how horrible it is. And if I've just scared you, don't be scared. They are horrible pills. But a lot of us have to go on them. I've been on them. Many of you watching who have been diagnosed with ulcerative colitis have probably been on them already. It's just sort of part of the cause at this point. But there are other medications. For instance, this is one that I am currently taking. Azathioprine. So this is an immunosuppressing pill, and it's actually also given to people who have had organ transplants to stop them from rejecting it. So it's quite a heavy-duty drug, and that's actually given to me in conjunction with a biologic. Now, many of you will have heard of a biologic. There are many, many biologic drugs available now. The one I'm on is infliximab. So basically, there's a lot of medications. And the general gist of it is ulcerative colitis is very treatable. Medication is just one part of it, however. Hydration is also very important. And I'm going to show you how important it is by having a drink myself. Hydration is very important. This sort of goes on to the what can we do about it phase, but I think it's really important. I'm going to bring it up now. When you are flaring with ulcerative colitis, you're probably going to the bathroom quite a lot. You might be going to the bathroom up to 20 times a day, 20 plus times a day. There might be lots of blood. And basically, it means you're probably dehydrated. So drinking lots of water, very good idea. Another thing that's very important for hydration, a lot of people miss this, is salt. So this is a bag of electrolyte powder. There's no flavourings in this. It is literally sodium, potassium, calcium and magnesium, with sodium being the biggest ingredient. Because when you're losing fluids, your body is excreting salts. And these salts are vital. They're vital for your body to function. They're vital for muscles to contract and relax. That's what your heart does. So you need salts. And if you're constantly dehydrated, you might notice this in the fact that you might have cramps. Your muscles might be acting up strangely. You might feel quivering inside your gut because that's all muscles. You might get twitches in your eyelids. You might get twitches like muscles might just start randomly going spasming out. You're dehydrated. So the best thing you can do is not just have the water, but add salt to the water. If you're into exercise or long distance running, you'll know about the importance of electrolyte salts. Many people miss this because I don't feel like it's taught to people. When I was in school, no one brought up electrolyte powder. They just said drink 8 cups of water a day. They never said have salt. They were like, salt is bad for you. Well, salt is vital to your human bodily functions. So yes, when you're flaring, do prioritise having some salt. Put some salt on your food. Get some potassium salt if you haven't got any potassium. If you can't eat bananas, So because potassium salt's great because you can throw that on your food, get some potassium that way. And make sure you're getting some of those salts. So what can you expect? Medications. You can expect that. You can expect visits to the doctor. You can expect panic because you don't know what's going on. There are things we can do about this. I'm just telling you what to expect. Times of fear. I'm just being brutally honest here. Times of fear. Times of complete desperation and wishing that this would go away. And times, good times. There's always bad with the good. With anything in life, there is balance. But you know, it is a horrible disease. You got to be honest with these sort of things. You can expect embarrassment. You can expect people to not understand what's going on. You can expect to feel isolated. All sorts of emotions may come up during this time. And you can expect a new focus on your health. This is one of the blessings of inflammatory bowel disease. Because before I was diagnosed with inflammatory bowel disease, I had no care or effort towards my general health in terms of diet, in terms of exercise, in terms of sleep. They're all things we're going to get into. But it gives you a new outlook on looking after your body, which is a blessing. And the thing is, there are great things to take away from this. I'm painting a bleak picture here, but I'm sure you are aware, as someone who's been newly diagnosed, it's kind of like hell to go through. Your body is causing havoc. It's like you go to the bathroom, it's a battle scene. We've got to be realistic. It's horrible. And I totally empathise with what you're going through because I've been there. I've been through this for 10 years. It's disgusting. It is horrible. So let's go on to our main point. Number 3. What can we do about it? This one, there's so much you can do about it. But the first thing you need to do is take an assessment of your life. What are you doing? What are you doing that's exacerbating your symptoms? Because in retrospect, when I look back, I was doing so much wrong, so much harm through the way I was living. Let's give you some examples. Harm. I'm just going to write harm on the board. What was I doing that was causing me harm? Drinking. And I wasn't drinking water. I was drinking alcohol. That's a bad one. This causes, let's get the red pen out. This leads to inflammation. I'm going to do a red arrow. So red, inflammation. And then we're going to get some green. Green equals healing. Just to make it simple for you. Alcohol, inflammation. In fact, let's leave these pens open. So I was drinking alcohol. I was staying up late. Staying up late. A big one, mindset. I let my mindset overcome me. And what do I mean by that? I mean, I was overcome with depression. Let's write that down, depression. I had given up. Given up. I felt hopeless. I felt like there was no future. I thought I was going to die. And I tell you what, mindset is one of the biggest things that you can easily change. Staying up late, well, if you're not sleeping right, you're going to get more inflammation. Mindset. If I'm depressed, I've given up, there's no way in hell it's going to help me heal. It might not increase inflammation, but it sure as hell doesn't make you feel good. But that could feed into, it might make me eat bad. I might just give up. For instance, when I felt like I'd given up, this fed into drinking. When I felt hopeless, I did frivolous spending. I bought a stupid vest that vibrates you when you listen to music, and I used it twice. I remember I was flaring. I was like, I'm bleeding in the toilet. I'm going to buy a stupid vest. I thought there was no future, so I started drinking. I thought I was going to die, so I started drinking. I didn't care. I would eat bad foods like takeaway. And it wasn't like I was ordering healthy takeaway. I was ordering like things like that hurt me. Like literally, I'd eat a Domino's pizza, and I know that that's going to make me hunched over in pain. But I ate it anyway. I ate pizza. Processed foods. In fact, I'm going to write hyper-processed foods. Or ultra-processed foods. You can call them hyper-processed foods if you want. That's a big one. Inflammation. Like chocolate, processed meals, like ready-made meals, all these crap foods, foods that have no nutritional value. I was feeling dizzy all the time. I was feeling rubbish all the time. I was feeling like I had no energy. I was sad. I'm painting a bleak picture, but I've just got to give you the full picture. This is sort of everything that I was doing, and it was harming me. It was causing me to flare off and on again for 7 years. It took me a long time to learn my lesson. This probably made me rely on this. These medications, they sort of like a base. You get a base of, you're flaring, right? So flare happens, and then you take medications. So we're writing meds. And that sort of gives you a base. And this is the base of healing. Let's write meds. And the thing is, you want to progress to the next rung. So you want to become more healthy. And let's say that, I don't know, let's say that remission is here on this step. And you've got flare here. There's a big fire going on. This is the flare. Meds. This is a base. But it doesn't get you to remission all the time, because you need to do all the other things like sort out your diet, sleep, exercise. I gave myself a small step there. And then it might be mindset. And then you achieve remission. And my point is that in a lot of ways, when you get a medication from the specialist, it's a two-way process. It's not just you take these meds and that's it. It's you take these meds and you work on yourself and you build yourself up and you do things that inherently take you in this direction up the rungs. Because without these vital steps, I would say this is more important than the medication, to be honest. The medication definitely is a big part of getting you healthy again. But I would say that these parts, so important for everyone. Like they're important for literally everyone in every stage of life. I had to make this clear. This is where my head is at. And this was not doing it. This is when I was relying on the meds. I would take the meds in the morning and I would then treat my body like shit. And then I'd wonder why I was flaring again. Oh, why am I seeing blood in the toilet? Life's so unfair. Well, what have I done the past 2 months? I drank alcohol. I stayed up late. I gave up. I had no hope. My mindset was rubbish. I was eating takeaway pizza. And I've been doing that for the past 2 months. And I wonder why I'm flaring again. Why there's inflammation in my gut. It's quite obvious when you look back. So this is where I would like you to take an inventory of your life. Maybe you need someone to help guide you through it, give you an outside perspective. And I can help you with that. Just to advertise, check the description. I offer one-to-one help and support with this. So, take stock of your life. Let's get to the healing part. We've heard too much about ways that you can hurt yourself. But it's important to know. It's definitely important to know Oh, there's my whiteboard cleaner. You got to be honest. If there's one thing that ulcerative colitis has shown me, you got to be honest with yourself. Because at the end of the day, your body, it's kind of being honest with you. It's saying the things you've been doing ain't working for us, mate. The things you're doing in your life is leading us to in an inflamed state. And I know that it's not always the case. Some people are very healthy and they get struck down with ulcerative colitis. And, it is terrible. It afflicts, anyone and everyone of all walks of life. But it does give you that, I see it as a blessing. It gives you the blessing to take stock of what's going on and what are you putting into your body. What are you doing for you, for your health? Right, we're back. I just stopped and started the camera. Let's talk about healing. Healing. What can we do to heal? Well, I've given you a lot of good hints. Sleep. Sleep. Number one. This is the best thing that you can do to help not just your inflammation, but your mind. If you can increase your sleep, if you can work on your sleep, doesn't have to be over in one night. You could go, it's an iterative process, takes time. But if you can work on your sleep, oh my God, you'll do some wondrous healing. My sleep used to be awful. I used to stay up all night playing video games till 5 a.m. And then I'd, go to school on a couple of hours sleep, feel like crap, lie there on the desk. It's a quick way to get inflamed, to become unhealthy in any health state. Diet. This is a big one. When I was diagnosed, I was told that diet plays no part in inflammatory bowel disease. What kind of nonsense is that? Diet plays a huge part in inflammatory bowel disease. It may not cause it initially. We don't know what causes it, but it does play a huge role in if you're going to heal, if you're going to feel good, if you've got the building blocks, literally like the Lego blocks, the Minecraft blocks, to build the areas that have been damaged. And if your diet's lacking, you don't have the building blocks. So this is a huge way that you can improve your overall health. Massive, absolutely massive. And the thing is, it's very personal. We all react differently to certain foods. This is where the onus is on you. You know yourself better than anyone else. Write down the foods that do work for you and really cherish that. And just use that as your playbook going forward. I know that oats and blueberries and kefir and red meats, they work for me. They work very well for me, and peanut butter. These are all going into my diet. Watermelon, lovely stuff. Write down the things that work well. And if you want to make things simple for diet, just eat foods with less ingredients. Just write that down. Just pick foods that have a smaller ingredients list and gradually shrink it. And just do that until your foods are very simple. And that way you can mitigate all of these random ingredients, like these preservatives, all this random stuff. Just bring it down, less ingredients. Now, your diet might look very different if you're in a crisis flare right now than when you're finally out of that flare. You might have to eat bland if you're flaring. You might have to eat just porridge. This is where you use your playbook, that you write down the foods that work well. It's really trial and error. It does kind of suck that you have to go through this, but what foods that work for me, it might help you. Porridge. My writing's getting very wonky here. Porridge. I'd use mashed potato. Mashed potato. What else did I eat? I ate chicken. Meats, really. Just meats. Wow, this is really wonky. Anyway, bland foods. Keep it bland and remember your salts. Salts is very important. And then when you're not flaring, you can experiment with all sorts of foods. It's all like there for you to play for there. But if you want to, you could try this. Oh, I also had peanut butter. Not many of you may not like nuts, but I found them very useful because they're calorically dense. And one of the problems with being inflamed, like your digestive tract being inflamed, is weight loss. So having something that's calorically dense that you can take in definitely helps there. That's what I ate anyway. Oh wow, this rubber doesn't really do much. So yes, diet. Diet's a whole thing. We could talk for ages about diet, but we won't get too hung up on it right now. So we've got sleep, diet, exercise. Exercise is a great way to make you feel better, increase your mood, increase blood flow across your body, which will increase your recovery, how fast you heal. These things are very important. There is one more thing: community. Join a community, whether that be online, locally, anywhere. Speak to people who are in a similar position to you. This is very important for the mind, and the mind sort of directs everything else. Where the mind directs it, everywhere else will follow. So if you believe that you're going to heal, you probably are going to heal. There's a whole nother avenue there. If you believe in these medications, they might be more effective. You can use the placebo effect to your advantage. Just believe in the things that you're doing. Believe that you will get good sleep tonight. And I know it can be hard to truly believe these things. You might have convinced yourself that there's no hope of having a good sleep tonight. But if you truly believe it, if you can convince yourself, trick yourself into believing that this sleep's going to heal me tonight, I will get a good sleep, this food is going to heal me, then you start to believe it and it starts to actually become true, because the placebo effect is a real thing. So yeah, there's some things that you could do about it. So the last thing that I want to sort of leave you with, really, just some last messages. The main one is don't panic. I'll write that. What's going on? This whiteboard cleaner is messing up the whiteboard. Don't panic. This one is a biggie. Don't panic. Things will get better. It may seem like the flare that you're in is lasting forever. It may seem that it's never going to go away, but it will. Things do change. It's just that healing takes time. Is this dry enough to write on? This is important. Healing takes time. I think this is one of the most important takeaways that you can take from this, is that healing takes time, because it does. It takes a lot of time. When I was hospitalized with my ulcerative colitis, it took me about 3 to 6 months to actually heal from that, for my gut to get back to a healthy state. And that was from quite an intense flare. But everything takes time. Changing your habits takes time. Improving your diet takes time. I got my diet to where it is today iteratively. I'd say over the past 6 years that I slowly changed my diet, got out of my bad habits, stopped eating the crap foods, really found it easy to stay eating clean. It took me 6 years. I've been going to the gym for how many years now? I think about 6 years too, actually, or maybe 8 years. And it took a while for that to become a habit. It all takes time. Growing muscle takes time. Healing takes time. Believing that the things that you're doing is going to work, like convincing yourself that these things are okay, will take time. So don't panic. Panicking is probably the worst thing that you can do. Freaking out, it's the worst thing. That's why the one of the most important things you can do is learn. Learn all about this. And then it's less of a shock. I know it is a shock the first time you experience these sort of things. The times I've panicked, let's just get into this a little bit, I guess. When I've panicked, when I've had intense pain, unbearable pain, and it won't go away, and I had to call the emergency services. That was quite a scary one. One of the most scary times, actually, was when I was flaring really badly. And it's like every time I go to the toilet, there's loads of blood. And there's this, I was given this phone number for my specialist. And at the time they used to answer the phone. They don't do that now. And I phone up my specialist and I say, I don't think I'm coping very well with this. I'm really struggling. And I just want to talk to her. And she just sort of she does help me out, tells me it's going to be okay. The amount that I'm losing in the toilet of blood isn't enough for me to die from blood loss. We were talking about like waiting for the steroids I was on to kick in and help me. So she was like, you've got time. And she was right, I did have time. But it didn't feel like it in the moment. I was panicking. I was truly panicking. And I couldn't settle. All I could do was I was just at home. I was just trying to play video games to distract myself. And it got to the point where I phoned the non-emergency line here, which is 111. That's here in the UK. And I just told them, I was like, I can't bear it anymore. I'm going to the bathroom all the time. And then I go to see a doctor in A&E. And she's basically like, I can't really do anything. I can't help you. I can give you steroids, or you have to just wait for whatever your specialist says. And it's in those moments when you feel powerless, like all hope is gone. You're like, the doctor can't help me. What am I doing? And the thing is, those times, that time did pass. Yes, I was hospitalised after that. I had a whole ordeal there. But anyway, it passed. And I'm now able to share how I healed past that. There's always a silver lining to these things. I'm able to share my experiences now, which I'm really grateful for everyone who leaves comments on these videos, because sometimes it can feel like I'm just talking to the void. But it seems like these videos do genuinely help you guys. Even though the videos don't get many views, it's nice, when I see those comments, it means a lot to me. So, yes, got a bit sidetracked there. Basically, I urge you to not panic, because it's one of the worst things you can do. Just panicking in general, it's just going to be crap when you're flaring. I know it just sucks. So I want to leave you with a hopeful message. I want to leave you with a message of good things. And that is really going back to these things will get better. Things that I've learned from my ulcerative colitis diagnosis. Things I learned. Let's write this out. And then you can maybe take away some things yourself. So through my time with ulcerative colitis, I've learned how to approach my diet. This pen's not really working with me anymore. I've learnt the foods that truly work for me. It's pushed me to learn more about nutrition. And it's put me in the best shape of my life. I'm so much more healthy than I was. Yes, I'm still on these medications. I'm on an immunosuppressant. I'm on a biological intravenous medication. But I'm in the best shape of my life. I'm into running now. I'm into the gym. I've got abs now. I feel I look great. I feel great. And it's just thrown it up there. It's given me hope. I've learned all about exercise. I've taken a passion for health. And that's really because I've experienced poor health. And these are all things that I don't think I would have got into if I hadn't been gifted inflammatory bowel disease. I would probably be out drinking. I would probably be smoking. I probably would. And I'm just going to throw up here things that I've learned is how to express myself. You know, making these sort of videos, I love it. I stand in front of the camera. I've got this big whiteboard. I love this whiteboard. And I'm just talking about things that I've been through, my life. I mean, I've learnt this through inflammatory bowel disease and the community as well. There's so many great people to talk to. So many people with a lot of knowledge. Yeah, it's just really cool. It is. And the thing is, all of these things are very positive. So, yes, you might have been diagnosed with what they say is a lifelong condition. But through that lifelong condition, you learn lifelong lessons. And those lifelong lessons just really increase the quality of your life. So once you get your flare under control, I think you're actually going to be better off than before. Because you're going to learn a lot of how the body works. You're going to learn how to look after yourself. And that can be taken with you for the rest of your life. So thank you so much for listening to me ramble on about ulcerative colitis. It's been great fun. If you'd like me to do more of these sort of videos or you've got anything you'd like me to cover, please leave a comment below and I'll take a look. I'd love to do more of these videos. Just stand in front of the whiteboard and I'll tell you about it. So, thank you so much and I'll see you in the next video.